So hey guys, my name is Rani Balhadia. I'll be doing my presentation on water, but specifically clouds. Before I get into explaining how to illustrate clouds, I first want to give you a short explanation on how clouds form. So basically put, we have our sun here, and it's shining on the Earth's surface. And on Earth's surface we have water. And as this water warms because of the sun, it will evaporate and rise. And as it rises, it cools, and the cooler air here is not able to hold as much moisture as the warmer air down here, and it's forced to condense. And when it condenses, it forms clouds. So there's a short explanation of how clouds form. And now to go into cloud types. There's three basic cloud types. You have stratus clouds, which are layered. You have cumulus clouds, which are puffy. These are the most common clouds you'll see. And you got cirrus clouds, they're wispy. And you can see where they fall as far as altitude. And then we'll go into lighting. So think of the cloud as a sphere, and it'll make lighting them a lot simpler. You have your darker area here, your core shadow, you have your reflected light underneath, and then you have the light side where the light source is coming from. So if you think of it as a simple solid, it'll make it a lot easier. If you're wondering why clouds are dark or grayish, it's either because they're casting a shadow on themselves, or another cloud is casting a shadow on top of them. And we'll go into some key features. Shape, edges, and opacity. Clouds are almost never uniform, as in most things in nature. So don't paint or draw them this way. They'll deviate in some sort of way. They'll be, some will be larger, smaller, some will be flatter, rounder. So really take your time to look at these clouds before you paint and draw them. It's worth your time. Then edges. Edges are really important. You really have to handle your edges well when painting clouds. If you don't paint them soft enough, they'll feel tough and hard, and clouds should feel soft and fluffy like cotton candy. And keep in mind atmospheric perspective when you're doing this, because as the clouds recede in the distance, they'll lose some edges, and they'll kind of just clump into larger masses. So think of that, keep that in mind. And then you got your opacity. Opacity is also very important. If you think about the clouds moving through the sky, the edges of the clouds are constantly disappearing and reappearing. So naturally, those edges will be less opaque, and the center of the cloud will be the most opaque. If the clouds aren't opaque enough, they'll feel flat. They won't feel dimensional. So make sure that some of the sky is peeking through them, but not peeking through the whole entire thing. Strike a balance. And then we'll go into color and contrast. Clouds pure white. Clouds are taking the reflected light though of the sky and of the sun. So during the day, clouds might look kind of bluish, and when the sun's setting, they'll become warmer in the light side, and they'll become a little bit cooler in the shadow side. And then contrast. Contrast is important. There should be a defining line between the light side and the dark side of the cloud, similar to the terminator on the sphere. So when you're painting them or drawing them, make sure that that separation doesn't get lost. And then we'll quickly wrap up fog. Fog is just another cloud just settle on the Earth's surface. As objects recede in the distance, they will disappear into the fog because they are approaching the same values. And that'll wrap it up. I hope you enjoyed my presentation, and I hope it will allow you to paint or draw clouds well, or at the very least, better. Alright.